Rev up your engine! Now, if you didn't know it, I'm moving from Texas to Tennessee, so I'm cleaning out my garage, and I'm going to show you interesting tools that you might not know about, that you might want, and I'm going to give a whole bunch of them away because I can't bring them all. Plus, I have 2 or 3 times the amount of tools that I actually need anymore, so I'll give away a lot of good tools. Just stay tuned in the end to see how you can win them yourself. Now, right in front, got this handy dandy little generator. If you need portable power, hey, this thing is fine for light duty. And to even tell you the truth, right on the generator, here's what it can operate. 10 75-watt bulbs, half horsepower compressor, 3/8 drill, mini refrigerator, 15-amp battery charger, string cleaner, table box fan, radio. You need power for a camping trip. Or maybe you got a cabin in the middle of nowhere. It's just one of those pull starts. No batteries needed to start it up. So, it's all self-enclosed. Now I got so many of these things, I don't need them. This one's brand new and I'm giving it away. Somebody's gonna win this great little generator. Now I do have to say I have an ulterior motive here because I don't need it anymore. I still got this gigantic Husky 5,000 running amp generator that's got a Subaru engine in it and wheels. That's going on the truck with me to Tennessee because I can wheel it right on the truck. That's more of a whole house generator for hurricane use here in Houston. I never had to use it though. My power never went out. When it went out, that was like 35 years ago. I didn't have one. I could have used one then, but then when I got one, we never had the power out, so I never needed to use it. And there's a big difference between 5,000 watts and 800. But 800, like I say, it can run some cute little things. I'm now going to put some gloves on because I'm going through boxes of stuff I haven't been through in years. People always ask me, Scotty, what gloves do you use? Here's what I use. I've been using these Micro Guard Safe Flex. Been buying them myself. The company's so cheap they never sent me any free. I buy them myself. They're great gloves. You're not going to cut yourself. You're not going to get acid on your hands, grease, gasoline. They're great gloves. I like these long ones with a collar. Now you might say, Scotty, what a wimp. What kind of a mechanic wears gloves? Well, let me tell you. I didn't up until 40-something years ago. I used to work on a lot of Mercedes-Benz diesels. And even in Texas, in the winter, it gets cool. And when you have diesel stuff get on your hands when it's cool, they often stain your fingers. You can't get it off. So as a joke one Christmas, she got me a box of these things to say, oh, you can keep your hands clean. Well, guess what? I kept my hands clean. Then my wife let me touch her. She said, get away from me with those greasy hands. Well, hey, look at me. 67 years old. My hands are still in really good shape, other than the odd cut here and there. Sometimes even a big slice will go through these things, but they're very handy when you're working on cars or anything, painting, you name it. But they do have one big drawback, which is why I'm not going to wear them now. I'm taking them off. Look at all that sweat. When it's hot and sweaty, man, your hands start sweating. You get water everywhere. It may be the middle of October in Houston, but it's going to be 92 today, and the humidity's like 98%. So instead, I'm going to be wearing these blue driver gloves. Nice grips, and of course, they're not made out of latex, so you're not sweating as much. Plus, some people are allergic to latex. They can't wear them. I've never seen anybody allergic to these type of gloves. These are fancy ones. You can see they're so you don't break your knuckles when you're working on cars. And they're padded, so if you're using power tools, it doesn't vibrate and hurt your hands as much. These blue driver gloves are great. I've got sets and sets of them. So now we're going to go through this box. And let me tell you, loathe the idea of doing it because it's extremely heavy. So what I'm going to do is dump it out. Then we can start throwing. Wow, some of these things I haven't seen for years. I was looking for this. I bought another one. Puller installer kit. If you're working on American cars, they make them so cheap that the pulleys on like the power steering pump and such, they no longer have a keyway where they fit in over the keyway. They're just press fit. So you got to use this tool and these sleeves that are inside to pull them off when you take the car apart. A lot of the American cars, you can't get the power steering pulley off unless you take the pulley off of the whole pump because bolts are behind it. So you got to pull it off with that, and then when you're done, you use the threaded rod and you screw the new pulley back in. You can't reinstall a power steering pump on these American cars with the pulley on. It blocks the holes that you're bolting on. So you got to put the power steering pump on naked, Then you get the pulley and you use one of these kits. Since I already bought a new one of these, this is going to my giveaway pile. One of you lucky people are going to get it. It's a 25-foot drain auger. These are fantastic. As you can see, there's crud in it because I use it all the time. You pull it out, put it in the drain, and hand crank it to clean out your sinks. Why pay a plumber $100 to come to your house? This thing cost me like 25 bucks on Amazon. It's got 25 feet, plenty enough to clean any of the drains in your house. You just push it in, crank it, and if you are a lazy person, you can hook your drill to it and run it with an electric drill. I like the hand one because you can feel it better. You know, when you're stuck on something, you know, you got to pull it back and forth to pull the crud out. So they work fine with hands. It's a really handy tool. And where I'm moving, it's brand new. So hopefully they won't be clogged up. Now the next thing I found is this handy dandy propane torch. Now propane torches are handy for heating up metal parts when they all come loose. There you go. It's a nice flame. You can heat up nuts and bolts that won't come off, then pull them out. Now of course, a little torch like this can only heat up so much. It's good on small nuts and bolts. If you have bigger ones, you need an actual acetylene torch. It uses acetylene and oxygen to get super hot. Now of course I have one of those. Here it is. But this baby's about 400 bucks. Then you got to refill the oxygen tanks. Some areas you need a license in order to do that. So the little bitty propane torch works pretty good, and if you want higher heat, instead of using propane, you can buy MAP gas and different other cylinders that'll fit on that torch that'll burn at a higher temperature, so you can try to take things apart with a torch. It's got a cutter on it, welder. It's really fantastic, and I mean, if you can find a used one somewhere, like I said, the new ones are about 400 bucks now. They are real handy if you're serious about fixing things. But the little bitty hand one, I'm going to give all mine away. I got 4 or 5 of them because I got this, which does a fantastic job. But in a pinch, if you're buying something, try the little ones. They only cost 15, 20 bucks. They got cans for them everywhere. Hardware stores, auto parts stores. They're real handy when you work on your car. You got to heat up some rusted piece to try to take it apart. Pipe wrenches. I've been looking for these for ages. If you have metal parts that don't have nuts and bolts to grab, you can grab cylinders. You need 2, 1 for each side, and you can unscrew them. Of course, if you're working on pipes, they are pipe wrenches. You know? You can use them for that. But if you're taking struts apart and you got to unbolt them, you put one on one part, one on the other, and then you push like mad, or like I often do. I hook them onto whatever I'm doing on the ground, then smash them with a hammer with one hand and have my foot on the other one holding it in place. Necessity is the mother of invention. I'll be giving these away too. I have millions of them. And speaking of millions of them, I've got scores of these Scotty shirts that I used in filming these videos over the years. And I'm going to give a whole bunch of them away. Now, I got to be truthful about this. I'm not giving you my clean ones, the new ones, but you're going to get actual ones that I used to fix cars and to film over the years that have gotten dirty, a little stain here or there, or they're all faded away, but they're actual Scotty shirts. And then one day, hey, when I kick the bucket, they can be collector's items. I'm going to be giving a bunch of these shirts away too. They don't smell though, I've washed them all. Little box, huh? Okay, what's in here? US Pro Lug Nut Removers. If you've ever had a car where you had those locking lug nuts, or your lug nuts are stripped on the outside and you can't get a wrench on them, these are reverse threads. You put them on, you hit them with a sledgehammer, then with a big cheater bar or an impact wrench, the reverse threads eat in and pull it off. This set fits just about every car out there. I've got 4 or 5 of these. Somebody giving away a couple of these. So you never have to worry about not being able to get your lug nuts off again. Especially if you live up north where everything gets rusty and corroded. This will eat through the rust, pull them off. And what do we have here? Pressure test for leaks in your radiator. And the advantage is it has a top that goes where your radiator cap goes, but it has a rubber bulb. So when you pump it up, it fills the space. So instead of having to have 400 different adapters for each car, this pumps it up. Then you pump it up, it's got a gauge on it, pressure goes down, you know there's a leak, look for the leak when you pump it up. That's all, and it still works. It's an OTC, I paid 140 bucks for the kit, and like I said, it's old, but it still works. I've got newer ones, so I'm giving this away so you can work on your own cooling system. A lot of people, they're not going to go out and buy something like this. They don't want to spend 140 bucks. I mean, if you're a mechanic, you're certainly going to, but if you're lucky, you can win this. It's going in a giveaway box. All right, here's some block leak tester. And here's how it works. I'm sending an old kit. I have a video how to tell if your head gasket is blown. You can watch the whole thing to get the whole exact specifications of how to use it, but it's pretty simple. You just take the top off the kit. You pour the blue fluid into the line. Then you stick this on top of the radiator. After you remove the radiator cap, you give it suction. That sucks the air from inside the radiator. If that blue fluid turns yellow, that means there's carbon dioxide inside your cooling system, which means the head gasket is blown inside. You're no longer sealed between the cooling jackets and your combustion chamber, which means you're going to have to take the engine apart and at least do a head gasket, if not more. Very expensive job. So, I have seen more people spend a ton of money on a car saying, Scotty, I've been to all these mechanics, I can't find out what's wrong with the car. I do this test first. It turns yellow, I say, your head gasket's blown on your engine. You're probably going to get rid of the car rather than spend thousands trying to rebuild the engine. Well, with this simple test, you know right away. And I got 4 or 5 of these too. So I'm going to be giving away block leak tester. In the box they go. Gooby Gone Automotive. I couldn't find this, so I had to go buy a new one. Well, here's a perfectly good unopened one that fell in the bottom of the box. This stuff is great for getting sticky stuff off your car, for removing stickers that somebody stuck on your car. Maybe you got little kids, they put dinosaur stickers everywhere. This will take it off. You won't have any problems. It's great for removing bird crap too. What else is in here? Look at this shiny blue thing. Oh, look. This is supposed to turbocharge your car. You put this on your intake where the air goes into the engine, past the air filter. It's supposed to spin and turbocharge your car. But alas, it's a giant scam. This one is called F1Z. Company sent it to me. Of course, it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. But if somebody wants these, you can ask, and I'll give it to them as a toy. It doesn't serve any purpose other than showing that people will con people over the most nonsensical thing. Because think about it. If you could take the air filter out of your car and then the duct that goes into your engine, install this, and it turbocharges your car, and it worked, guess what? They'd be using it in the factory. Total nonsense scam. But if somebody wants it, I'll give it to you. I don't have any use for it. It doesn't do anything. Now, most of the rest of this stuff is just garbage I'm throwing away. But to have a chance to win any of the products that I've just shown, just place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below, and a computer will randomly pick winners of all these interesting tools, so you can have part of Scotty's legacy of his move. I'm going to be doing the same thing in Tennessee, just in a different place. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.